multiple melee assassin style. They've got Malthael and Ragnaros. We'll see what Psalm ends up playing later on.
I don't know what to make of it. At this point, I just...
Psalm? No, Fan maybe? Either Fan or Psalm. We'll see what they play.
I mean, you know, there should be like a guessing game, right? We should just come up with a guessing game for chat. It's like, it's almost like playing bingo, right? It's just like, all right, who's going to be on this hero? Like Ragnaros 5, Malthael 2. Like, who knows? I don't know if that actually works. Somebody can come up with something out there, but it's Tempo Storm's draft are like that. I mean, it's imagine how frustrating it is to be the drafter of who you're going against. It's like, look, we can still win as long as we play whatever, but I hate drafting against them. There's got to be somebody out there that's like frustrated, like, I don't even know what, you just kind of close your eyes, click the mouse, and it probably is a band that something they would pick.
Well, you know who did it? Team Freedom.
Yeah.
Team Freedom did well versus that, and they had the Cho'Gall to contend with. Final two picks, Rhaegar, Sonya, hey,
the flea flickers.
The flea flicker. And a Sonya, Jason Sonya again. All right, Sonya, Sonya Malthael or Sonya Ragnaros, top. What are we thinking for this ranged, probably?
Is it arranged is my biggest question. I mean, there's no guarantee that it will be arranged. I mean, we see Hanzo, Tassadar, Sonya. There's no, like, you look at counters, like it could be mage style. Maybe we get Jaina. Maybe we get Kel'Thuzad. Kel'Thuzad against a Rhaegar, not terrible. I mean, but catching a Hanzo, a Nubarak, who a Nubarak does have the spell armor. I mean, any number of heroes could come out here.
I just feel like at this point, if you go full-on melee versus Dragon's Arrow, follow up a Nubarak hits, you've got Sonya on the backside too, all going to be slowed by Tassadar. I'm thinking about that giant choke point, and I'm scared if Tempo Storm goes full melee with that. Yes, they have a Sanctification, but there's also potential interrupts for it. Nope, we're doing it anyway. We're going back in with a Kerrigan. Circles of Death. That's what I call this comp.
Circles of Protection and Sanctification, which brings up a big point for me. So Rhaegar struggles against a diving Malthael that has Tormented Souls. It is a big struggle. Normally, if he takes 50% of his damage, he's like, well, I've got to Ancestral somebody, and then he becomes the primary target because he can't Ancestral himself, ripping doggo pieces, you know? But I don't know. But either way, that's the biggest thing is, like, he is such a high priority target, right? Yeah. Like, it is terrible to play that. So you have to make a decision if you're Equinox. Going in, you have to have this planned out before you ever hit 10. Do I Cocoon Tyrael for the Sanctification and then hope to get the Dragon's Arrow blow up on everybody else? Or do I Cocoon the Tormented Souls? And those are really your main two options.
Yeah.
And you got to have a plan pre-10. That way, as soon as it comes out, you execute it and counter whatever's coming at you.
Rhaegar is also going to have a problem in that there's two different ways to take and reduce significantly an Ancestral Healing. So he's got his work cut out for him. That is Tomster.
That's a more terrifying part.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Malfurion and you've got Malthael.
Yep.
Malfurion.
It's a mouthful. There is a silver lining, though, for SpaceStation, and that is that they also have Tassadar. They have the supplemental healing from him, and it can be sort of a Tassadar Hanzo or Hanzo Rhaegar. Tomster plays more of a backline style Rhaegar, less aggressive, and then you leave the Tassadar to kind of be in the middle. He'll have Dimensional Shift. If he gets focused, he can shift out, and then you have the backline divers if they need to. Really, I feel like the diving is going to come in enough from Tempo Storm that if a Nubarak can just cocoon something and then he and Sonya can kind of do some disruption, then once someone gets low, they can follow up with the Dragon's Arrow or use the Dragon's Arrow to slow things down, momentum-wise for Tempo.
Psalm going in, getting out. No major fights just yet. It's Glaurung putting some damage onto Jason. They'll split off to their solos. You know, Equinox does have the tools between his Burrow Charge and the Impale to really deal with a dive-style composition.
Yes.
You could potentially go Bed of Barbs at level 4 to get the slow on that front line. Again, it's all down to the Tyrael. You know, he's got a lot of really good tools, level 7 especially, to get that extra attack speed, to get the movement speed. I mean, there is just so much that Tyrael brings to the table for this style. Maybe that's exactly what Tempo Storm needs. Yeah,
and I'm wondering if we'll get a Holy Ground from Caterpillar, or if we'll see more Law and Order, like has been more of the norm, which is surprising to say, but having The ability to have the reduction and more often having your righteousness shield, which are increased with the level 1. There's just so much synergy between the talents of this new Tyrael. And here Tempo Storm goes immediately.
I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're like, all right, they've got a Ragnaros, they've got a Kerrigan, they've got a Tyrael. Do we even contest that? I mean, is it really worth it? I mean, you've got a Rhaegar and a Hanzo, and a Tassadar's kind of flexing up.
They were coming down already. Sonya and Tass were starting to rotate down. Malthael hadn't even tried with that on a pale horse. Bottom is going to be the focus for Tempo Storm. They showed it in the last game. They're going to have a lot of invades on the camps. So it's on SpaceStation to either stop that somehow, try to get aggressive, not let those camps do anything, or try to figure something out in the top so that they can keep up and structure somewhere else, or start the fight. But it's scary versus this team.
Yeah, Tassadar has to rotate down. He's trying to make sure they don't lose much in the way of experience middle, but he's right now their best clear. I mean, obviously we have the explosive arrow there from Hanzo at level 4, which gives you a bit more clear, but the shielding and the healing here, I mean, they're supporting the Siege Giants, is Tempo Storm right now.
Yeah. Worked out. They took out the two towers and the gate already, and the roots on the other side of it as Equinox tries to clear some space so that SpaceStation can clear out the rest of those giants. Kerrigan's working on the bruisers in the bottom while Tempo Storm keeps a hold of both of the shrines. You're going to see Malthael start to rotate down to the mid as Ragnaros comes bot, just to ensure that Tempo Storm has no difficulty in obtaining this mercenary camp.
Yeah, you had mentioned there are multiple forms of healing reduction, but on the side of Tempo, we see Vengeful Roots, which is, you know, the old Treant coming out of there that does a little bit of damage. Not the healing reduction. They're going to rely mostly on Malthael to get that touch of death.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to get it too. It may not be that they even feel like they need to do that. If they have the kind of aggression necessary, the natural agility will save Casanova's life for the moment as he backs out. But the bigger issue here is that it was all a clever show, a clever ruse to force SpaceStation off of defending this fort, which Tempo Storm are going to get if SpaceStation doesn't get in here and get something done.
Sonya came down and was met by a Ragnaros, and Malthael was hanging mid lane. The minute they saw that, he came in to support. They're shielding the fort, and it's going to keep it alive, but it's not going to be alive for much longer.
No. That can be taken down in a matter of moments. You could sneeze on it. A sneezable fort. Level 7 here for Tempo Storm as SpaceStation keeps up the aggression at least enough to allow for Tempo Storm to not hold on to both of the shrines, but Tempo are already doing things elsewhere. Get this Bruiser's top and then either push along with that or force a lot of SpaceStation up to defend versus that and then go back through and be able to start the bottom progress again because the Giants are available.
The Giants are available, and starting the progress, SpaceStation, it seems like this style of composition from Tempo Storm is throwing people off in terms of how to deal with it. They find Fan, who gets the self-heal there. Oh, they do get the guy. I was just about to say, one of the best things you can do is to try and be aggressive back. I mean, right now, you're letting the enemy dictate, you know, the terms of the fight. And if you can kind of catch them in rotations and force something and have a numbers advantage, you take away one of those pieces. It's almost like when you're playing against the Lost Vikings, right? Like, the Vikings are great, but the minute one of them goes down, their value suffers tremendously. In this style of composition, what they did just there was exactly what you need to do. You need to take off limbs out of this, you know, this big animal that's coming at you. And right now they did it. That gets them a little bit back into the game and gives them control, but they can't let up.
No, they have to keep going because Tempo Storm is still ahead in experience despite that one kill in favor of SpaceStation. Som goes in, takes out the fort. There's a giant camp up. We'll have the Bruisers pretty soon. We're going to go for that giant camp. Glaurung just staying safe. SpaceStation coming up, seeing if they can get that pick and make sure that they're not letting up on the pressure.
They aren't, and you know, this is multiple times. They haven't gotten the kill on Glaurung with the Sonya Tassadar, and every single time Tempo is doing something in the bottom. So not getting that kill and not getting the structure damage in the top, you're risking something. You're willing to give up a little bit, but right now they've given up the entire bottom lane, and that's probably more condemning than anything right now, and this is tough. I mean, those Giants continue to be healed.
Yeah, it's hurting them a lot. This is they're suffering in this bottom lane, and it's hard because when you want to try to clear those Giants, you're doing this versus a Kerrigan with a Malthael underneath as roots. So if she hits the combo, pulls someone out through the gate, which is no longer there, but you see how far back they're playing. Now Caterpillar has jumped in and Psalm went along with it. Equinox evades the combo. They're going to try to turn this around now that they have Force Walls. Cocoon in the back. Cocoon is on Tyrael, the Sanctification. Not there for the team, but Tempo Storm plays safe. They still have 3 of these Giants. The combo goes in. Sulfura smash 2. Casanova gets a cleanse, makes it out in time. A Twilight Dream behind this, but Psalm is very low in health.
Psalm got low. The Sulfura smash missed. Jason gonna make it out of there alive. But this DK is pushing down. Those Giants are still healthy. Psalm has enough health left, but he's feeling pretty good about himself.
Pre-7-minute keep, thanks to the Giant pressure, the control of bottom lane. Tempo Storm are domineering in this game. It brought the Dragon Knight in. Malthael just having a heyday over the map while the rest of the team was hanging out, keeping SpaceStation in the bottom. And now with the remains of this Dragon Knight, they'll start to push into the mid, get further ahead in experience. SpaceStation, unless they can do something about that, which they were looking to see if they could.
They're definitely... Oh, does he have his burrow? He does. But he finds a Kerrigan combo and Glaurung in the backside with his Tormented Souls. Cocoon is out on Tyrael, but Molten Core is enough to thwart them away.
That was exactly what you were mentioning, Jay, how Equinox went in. He's going to burrow charge away from a potential combo. Equinox went in, the rest of the team completely scared away by a Tormented Souls. And Equinox, yes, he has those escapes, but the rest of the team couldn't follow up at all. We'll see if things change, though, at 13, once Mystical Spear is available for Sonya. As this team gets tankier, and tankier, too, once Sonya continues to level up. But it was very easy for Tempo Storm to split the entire team so that they could make sure that everyone else was safe from the Equinox.
Roots go down for the zoning. Psalm and team are looking to engage pre-13, but Fan coming in on the backside. Casanova dodges it with that agility. Jason staying alive for the moment, gets caught in a combo. They're pulling a mech.
Glaurung's all the way in the back line. No Tormented Souls, but with the Twilight Dream, Sonya goes down. So too does a new Barak, and Glaurung having the chase on multiple members of SpaceStation. Casanova gets caught on one side. Jay Shritit makes it out of the other. Natural agility at the last second, and Casanova lives. That might be the difference between Tempo Storm being able to end this game or not. It's still low cooldown timers. They're going to go on forward. They have a ton of mercenaries behind this. They'll turn their attention to that mid-keep instead.
They are going to attempt to, but the slows and the damage is too far. And all of a sudden, we've got a Force Wall.
He has Tormented Souls right now. If Glaurung wants to go back in for this, he will. It gives him some of the self-healing while the rest of the team deals with the Cocoon. Tempo Storm are ready to leave this situation. Low on mana, somewhat low on health. SpaceStation are okay with letting them leave, or at least they have to be, as Tempo Storm make it out.
This composition, or this style of composition for Tempo, is giving headaches to people. I mean, it is unorthodox, it is unique, it is innovative so far, and you could only say that if it's working, and so far, Gilly, multiple times this seems to be working for them. Game's not over yet here. SpaceStation still has that big combo that you mentioned that could lock them down and turn this fight, but so far, things are looking good.
That they are. When we talked to Psalm about this kind of style of play, granted it was the even more extreme version with the Dahaka and then the rest. Dahaka was the main tank, the only tank, and the rest were melee assassins. He said that they just trade up so well, and we've seen the flexibility in having Glaurung return to his old role, Psalm and Fan be able to maintain that role even in playing more range, work out for them. Even Caterpillar returning to that old role to play the Malthael.
Psalm is trapped there, but Glaurung coming down the backside. They do get Psalm in the Kerrigan, and by cocooning Tyrael, no Sanctification. They might still look for a fight, though.
Yeah, they're doing their darndest. There's Sanctification now from the team, and it's been avoided by SpaceStation. So Tempo Storm are going to have to back off, play it safely for a little bit. Fan was caught by a Force Wall. They have a camp pushing in the top lane. Kerrigan will be back in 10. Tempo Storm still has some control. They just have to let up on the gas pedal slightly while SpaceStation got that kill.
That was a super aggressive flank there, but the Force Walls, even in defense on the core side and coming back, The Force Walls have really set up a lot of what's going on. Almost got a couple of kills, did get the one onto Kerrigan to give them some control back. They're not out of the woods, so they're still a level and a half down, but if they can continue to make those plays, they can find their way back into this game.
The Cocoons have been really good on Tyrael every time, stopping the Sanctification while they do their best to deal with one of those melee assassins. In that case, it was Psalm. They've tried to turn their focus to Fans Ragnaros too. They're still 2 levels behind though, and Tempo are rapidly approaching 16. They're starting to set up to use that 16 in time to have the Dragon Knight, as Malthael was going to the top, but with all of SpaceStation top dealing with the camp that was pressuring there, they're gonna make a stand for the moment.
That was on a pale horse value right there, as he quickly
No fun out of that.
I almost did it. But anyways, 16 almost here for Tempo Storm. Things looking good for them as things have settled back down. We see on the minimap, Malthael has gone to the top. SpaceStation going to try and neutralize a few things by picking up a night camp. But Equinox has his hands full here. It's
been spotted. No holy ground, but it's even just the threat of Tempo Storm with 16. There's another beautiful cocoon on the Tyrael. As the rest of the team tries to deal with Tempo Storm, they almost got Psalm, but there's a Twilight Dream from behind that. Sulfura Smash hits 2, ripping through the health bars of SpaceStation. Fan goes in, gets that giant Scorcher value. Rhaegar goes down. 2 kills for Tempo Storm.
2 kills, almost a third. That Ancestral saving Casanova there on the Hanzo. But this should net a Dragon Knight, and as the Catapults and Giants have taken down the shields, I think this is Tempo Storm's moment to potentially try and siege up and in this game. They're going to have some Siege Giants. They're going to be coupling behind that, as we saw there momentarily. They started. It looks like they're also going to try and get Knights and just end this with camps plus Dragon Knight.
Yeah, this is a death march. They knew that there was going to be still lower end respawn timers for SpaceStation. They want to make sure that they have everything they need to finish out the game. It's only a 13-minute Dragon Knight. It's still going to be able to chunk in some damage, but just making sure they have everything needed to go in, especially with all their heroic abilities down too, except Tormented Souls. There's no Sanctification once they're on the core. That's a great Impale from Equinox. He takes a lot of damage for it, but it does slow down the momentum of Tempo Storm with Fan and Song.
Honestly, that's pretty much their only chance there, was to take that fight, because this Dragon Knight Molten Core is going to be way too tough to defend. This should be Tempo Storm taking game number 2. Equinox and team, they're still trying to fight back with that core falling. I think we're going to a 1-1 series.
But SpaceStation still taking out Psalm. They've got Jason in the back as the core goes down to 20%. Tempo Storm tied the series up with a return to their hyper-aggressive melee-style composition.
Hyper-aggressive, to say the least. They were aggressive early and often. Didn't really mean that they got a lot of kills, because you don't need a lot. You just get the ones that matter the most and you make something out of it. That's exactly what they did. Now, as we head to game 3, after what I saw from Towers of Doom yesterday, I wonder if SpaceStation is going to try and make a play on the map, or whether they're willing to give up something like this again.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd want to go to Towers. I was just looking to see where exactly Tempo feels comfortable to play that kind of style, and Towers is definitely one of those maps. So we'll have to see if they'll choose Battleground choice just to avoid it as long as possible.
Yeah.
But in the long series, if it went all the way to 5, I don't know if they'll be able to avoid it completely in this series, the way Tempo plays it out. We're going to head to a break. After the break, we continue with the series between SpaceStation and Tempo. See you soon.